Least you could do is add my last name, but that's okay. Good evening, everyone. So after firing a number of producers, CBS management also canned 60 Minutes anchor Scott Pelley. And it didn't end there. They even terminated the 60 Minutes stopwatch. See, there he is. He's out on the street. You know, it was funny in the meeting. During an event for his wife's book, Joe Biden awkwardly approached the stage and asked, "Who do you love the most in the world?" To which Jill replied, "Whoopi." Sadly, the former president spent the rest of the day thinking his name was Whoopi. President Trump claimed he's getting along quite well with Iran's new supreme leader, who's probably gay. No surprise, Trump's been known to get along well with gay Muslim leaders quite often. I don't get it. I don't know why you find that funny. Last night, Katie Porter conceded the California governor's race after getting just 5% of the vote. She'll now go back to her old job as a scarecrow for boners. Don't worry, supporters. She always lands on her hooves. A doctor who once testified in a terrorism case on behalf of a convicted al-Qaeda cleric just won a New Jersey primary. I know. His first action, flying planes into Chris Christie. Because he's really big. Never forget. Pornhub just launched a brand new website exclusively for women with only lesbian content. Yeah, it's called HomeDepot.com. On Tuesday, Tennessee Republican Andy Ogles posted on X that, quote, "homosexuality has no place in America." He has since apologized for this unwarranted attack on the World Cup. I don't care if you don't like it. You're going to love this one. And finally, Richard Gere went on a deranged, Trump-hating rant, complaining that whoever thought that a maniac like this would be president of the United States. Jeez, what crawled up his ass? All right. I thought you guys had a high bar. Turns out you have a really low bar. All right. So this weekend, the Black Crowes slammed their fans in Tampa for being too patriotic. The audience had started chanting USA after this logo came on the big screen. That's the band's mascot, dressed as Uncle Sam, which angered singer Chris Robinson, because apparently the country where he sold millions of albums and had chicks scream his name sucks.
Yeah, cheers. Thanks for the geography lesson. We got it. What the you're so proud about right now, by the way. Boo all you want to, boo away. Some of us have real faith. And for those of you booing us, some of us are not afraid. And we most assuredly are not ignorant.
Oh. You know, it's people like him who give drug addicts a bad name. So what's the deal here, Chris? You exploit patriotic imagery. Hell, you got your damn mascot draped in the flag, and then you crap on the people who embrace it. That's like me complaining about Canada after I tricked a moose into licking maple syrup off my nipples. It's just like that. So this is coming up on America's 250th birthday, a celebration that today is greeted with ambivalence. Now, I remember back in '76, our 200th birthday was a big deal. We waved flags, sang the anthem, even went high on prescription Quaaludes while listening to Deep Purple on an 8-track. Those were the days. You didn't hear Kiss or ZZ Top crapping on the country. They had better things to do, like the cast of Facts of Life. Yeah, Mrs. Garrett, man. Whew. So what the hell happened? Well, there's identity politics. The left's anti-patriotism, which has taken a melting pot, which is people from different places uniting under one flag and turning it into the United States of whiny bitches. It's not red, white, and blue, but race, gender, sex, all fighting for status and power. It's not celebrating what makes America great, which is landing on the moon, winning world wars, and refusing to use the metric system because it's gay. Love of country is now purely transactional. You know, what have you done for me lately? And what America did in the past can never be forgotten. Of course, the only way to maintain this cynicism is to view America without any context. It's flawed, but compared to what? See, once you place our country among the rest of the world, you then see how silly the criticisms are. So teachers make sure that you don't. Forget 1776 or even 9/11. Now it's endless lectures about how inherently racist America is. And the reason they don't teach kids American history anymore is because those lessons would have to include how we didn't invent slavery, but how we ended it. Or how America has done more to raise the standard of living across the globe than any entity in history. You know, obscene like that. By the way, slavery was a long-established, widespread practice in Africa. They routinely enslaved other Africans. But today's teachers, many who were born in the 80s and 90s, don't know that stuff or don't want to know that stuff. So how can they celebrate a country's birthday after saying how evil it is? They've refocused on blaming history, which is easier than addressing the state of lesser cultures. Hence this shiny dip claiming we haven't reckoned with our racist past.
Anniversaries often gloss over the racial dynamics underlying much of America's history and politics, issues that remain unsolved because America has never actually fully reckoned with its racist past and its original founding sin of slavery. I feel a deep unease about these celebrations to which I am invited to mark the 250th anniversary of our so-called democracy. Because this 250th anniversary is taking place during yet another period of deep and fundamental and existential unrest in this country, brought on by the country's unresolved racial politics.
He feels unease being invited to these events. No, he's not invited to any events. People don't invite this guy. He's miserable. And it's hard to resolve something when one political party exists by keeping that issue alive. But all right, you douchebag. You were born in Kenya, and you lived in Canada, and now you're here. Why not live in Kenya, where the monthly income is 130 US bucks? Or Canada, where healthcare is so bad they'll happily euthanize you over a hangnail. Just see how a little context can destroy that narrative. But at least some of us still remember what this is supposed to be about, and it's Rob Van Winkle. Yeah. Yeah. Vanilla Ice.
Tell us why you're still planning on performing, even though we've heard that from the president, when so many other performers are deciding not to.
I'm proud to be an American. I was born here and raised here, and this is my country, and I don't like anybody telling me I really can't be proud of it. And this is a huge honor to play the birthday, and music is here to bring people together, man. And, you know, it shouldn't be that this music is dragged into politics.
Amen. Yeah, I agree. Fact is, this isn't just some boring birthday you skip like your wife's. Fathers, mothers, and their kids died for this country so bands with one hit song can insult their fans on stage. So, Chris, next time you speak from the heart, think about all the people who now talk to angels so you can have that right. Let's welcome tonight's guest. Like Oprah, she was big in the 90s. Host of Kennedy Saves the World podcast, Kennedy. He only does this show so he can wash his clothes in the restroom sink. Comedian and host of the Loftus Party podcast, Michael Loftus. He looks like the guy who tips lap dancers with Pokemon cards. CEO and co-founder of the Federalist, Don Davis. And circling vultures call her not worth the effort. New York Times bestseller. Kennedy, what are you wearing?
Oh, thanks for asking, Greg. It's Johnny Walls.
Wow, it looks like a florist vomited on you.
No, a florist on LSD vomited on me, Greg.
Exactly.
Thank
After
you.
eating a bag of Skittles.
Yeah.
No, only you could pull that off, and if you're lucky, maybe someone will later.
I've had men fired for less, Greg.
I didn't say me. I said someone, perhaps your soon-to-be husband. Although you wouldn't be engaging in premarital sex because you aren't married yet.
Just in the butt, Greg.
Oh, man. Like I said, that doesn't count. Read my book, Things That Don't Count, by Greg Gutfeld. in most children's sections. What?
I think we're off to a great start.
The thing that bugs me about Chris Robinson, I don't even know anything about the Black Crowes, except they had one stupid song and he pretended he was Mick Jagger. But the fact that his mascot...
Hey, on down, little mouse of Canada, and all shot on the hand down, then around,
Wow, it's like he's
Get
here.
around.
Did you ever meet him?
Yeah.
Yeah? What's he like?
He smelled. He's one of those guys that, you know, patchouli is like BO in a bottle.
Right.
And he was the guy who bathed in it. And,
Yeah.
And it's really rare to remember someone's smell, but he was that guy.
Yes.
And that stuck with me much more than the music.
Yeah, you know what? It's funny. It's
And
like...
he also lost Kate Hudson.
Yes.
Like he was married to Kate Hudson when she was like, you know, Penny from...
Almost Famous.
Almost Famous, yes.
Yeah, but you know what? Drugs will do that to you. You know, he just fell in love with the needle. Yeah, the needle and the damage.
And the damage done.
Done, yes.
Thank you.
I don't even know if we answered the question, but I think I've had enough of you.
Likewise.
Michael, you know what I hate besides, I don't know, puppies? This when people say like, oh man, at least I'm not afraid or ignorant. It's like there's this weird kind of self-righteousness that they take that they have no authority for.
Yeah.
What exactly are you supposed to be afraid of?
I think the Counting Crows might have to change their name to self-sabotage. Because that's what this dude seems to be doing. Like they were okay in the 90s and then self-sabotage.
Yes.
And then the Kate Hudson thing, self-sabotage. Then when you're out there pimping your Southern rock to go to the South and attack your own audience, you're a moron.
Yes.
Like, I can't stand this guy with his little tank top. I'm brave. And the Freedom Fest thing, they need to, like, whoever was reaching out to the artists with that, I was looking at the names of the artists who said no to Freedom Fest.
Yeah.
It's like CNC Music Factory.
Yeah.
And one of the lip-syncing dudes from Milli Vanilli.
Yeah.
Get your together. Pick up the phone, call somebody who loves America, like John Rich. Call him immediately.
Sean, a lot of people don't know this, but you actually were a roadie for Motley Crue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I keep it on the DL.
Yeah, that's right. What do you make about Velshi? Velshi saying that, like, he's reluctant to go to celebrate America. You're from Canada and Kenya. We don't need you.
Kenya, duh.
Hey-o. Ali Velshi is an Indian Muslim born in Kenya, raised in Canada, who's been an American citizen for like 5 seconds.
Yeah.
So I agree with him. I feel a sense of unease as well. And my sense of unease is that I'm hearing anything out of him other than just total humble gratitude. We have allowed him to come and bask in the shade of the Liberty Tree, planted and established and watered by our forefathers. And he comes over here and craps on the country. If he doesn't like it, he can get out.
Yeah. I mean, part of the joy is that you can be here and crap on it, but that's all he does. I mean, we get it now, all right, buddy? Kat, what did you think of the bicentennial when you were negative 13?
Oh, yeah, I was going to say, not much, I guess.
Are you sad you missed the bicentennial?
I mean, like, by a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, by a lot. No.
No?
No, I mean, I'm fine with being born when I was.
Oh, all right. Just checking.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Was there anything, yeah.
Are you a Black Crowes fan?
No, because, like, okay, he has that one song, like you said, but it's not even his song. It's an Otis Redding song.
Yes, that's right.
It's an I like Otis Redding.
Yeah.
Yeah. Look, this is...
Steals from black men. Go ahead.
Right, maybe he should confront that on the 4th of July.
Exactly.
I feel like the 4th of July is supposed to be fun. I just feel like you're not, like, You should just be having fun. If anybody approached me with any issue of any kind, I'd be like, can we not talk about this? It's the 4th of July.
Yeah.
I'm trying to have a nice time right now. You know, the weather's nice, people drink beer, people eat processed meat, and they have a good time.
Yes. Yeah.
You know, like, come on, babe, it's the 4th of July. I'm sure people say that a lot.
Yeah, it's true. But, you know, it's funny. We have this rise of ethnic chauvinism in which we're like, that is taking precedence over patriotism and national pride. And we have to reverse that, or it won't be good when we get to the 300 years for sure. And I'm going to be there. My head's going to be in a vat. My skull, my brain. All right, I'm going to move on. Up next.
Be sure to like and subscribe for all the Fox News latest on YouTube and catch full shows streaming now on Fox One.